live from the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are, the free Odyssey app. Good Friday morning. A feel-good Friday. Unfortunately, not the result we wanted in the Four Nations as Canada wins in overtime. We did get a Knicks win in overtime, so that was nice to see. But you were Boomstradamus, but you weren't Boomstradamus in the right way, unfortunately. You said 3-2 overtime, but it was those damn Canadians. You know, and I was thinking, I was driving in, I was like, you know, they can have this because they got nothing else. We were trying to think of the stuff that they have. The maple syrup, slightly better than Vermont Tim Hortons, which, Duncan, we slam on top of them. I mean, they don't have anything. So you can have this little cute thing. We'll see in the Olympics. That other game where we beat you up and won, that's more important on that Saturday night than last night anyway. So you can have this fakakta tournament, and we'll take a gold medal next time. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Gene. I think we'd be taking a victory lap if we would have won.
Of course
last
we
night.
were.
I will say there is nothing more exhilarating than an overtime hockey game that really does have meaning to it, even though you're not playing for anything other than national pride. But there's nothing more deflating than losing that overtime hockey game, especially after there were numerous chances to win it on the stick of Austin Matthews. And I don't know, Jordan Binnington was amazing. He's the goalie for Canada. He plays for the St. Louis Blues. That performance that he had last night was much like the performance he had when the Blues won the Stanley Cup against Boston in that building.
Yeah.
So when we were going into this whole thing, we said, okay, there's really good balance on both sides of the rosters, and maybe the slight difference is going to be the best goalie in the world. That's Connor Hellebuck, who was the USA goalie, versus Jordan Binnington. Maybe he would give up a goal here or there, and maybe we would end up winning. But the couple saves that he made in overtime last night were just awesome. The whole thing was awesome. I congratulate the NHL. I really, really do congratulate the players. It was an amazing experience. And what were they playing for? They were playing for pride. They love their game. The culture of their game is in such a great spot. The younger players on both of these teams are going to turn out to be superstars themselves. As a hockey fan, as a dyed-in-the-wool hockey fan, I loved every minute of it. I watched almost every single minute of every single game.
Yeah, and
so it to me, while it's disappointing, I wake up this morning, I know it was an exhibition. I would have loved to have won it, G. All I can tell you is that, man, these guys played their asses off, and a lot of guys are injured because of it, which now begs the question, what's more important, the NHL season or an in-season tournament or a mid-season tournament that really doesn't have any effect or doesn't have any effect whatsoever on the outcome of the NHL season?
So then there's a very specific injury and specific player that this speaks to, and that's Matthew Tkachuk.
Well, it's also Charlie McAvoy for the Bruins.
Yeah, but last night, especially, and the reason why, too, is because Charlie McAvoy, there was no doubt about it. Like, he had his arm in a sling when he was gassing everybody up in the dressing room before the game. But with Tkachuk last night, I'm pretty sure that one of the Panthers' doctors is there.
You're
with
not
this
playing.
team.
You're not playing.
Right. So there was like the answer to that question. And Emily Kaplan said that if there was another power play at some point, maybe in the overtime or the end, that he was probably going to be out there for that. But other than that he wasn't going to get on the ice.
I mean, it's a part of it. They lost Cal McCarr in the previous game. He was sick. And, he obviously is a difference maker. But these two teams are so tight and so talented. And, again, as a hockey fan, I appreciate the effort that these players put forth. This was so much more than an exhibition. And I think maybe geopolitical influences, have something going on. And
no doubt, but that's great.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the greatest moments in sports have happened during those times.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So Russians, United States back in 1980.
Right, some of the Olympic stuff that's gone on over
exactly.
here. I mean, it's that is, when you get that cross-pollination of those things, I mean, people get really emotional about it. And I did end up going out for the first period because – I just wanted to. I had some energy. I was like, let me go out with a couple buddies for the first period. And I was curious to see what it would be like. That people are on break, with teachers and stuff. So there's some people that are, don't have work on Friday. But, I mean, the place was just jammed.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
With
People loved it.
all USA paraphernalia, not just like hockey jerseys, but just hats with flags and everything. And they were totally into it. It was a fun thing to experience. And, I think that all of us, including myself, have maybe looked too deep into this whole thing, and we're dissecting every little bit of it. This morning it's sort of like, this was fun. This was a really good thing. It was fun. It came at the right time, at a slow time in sports, and we all enjoyed it. It sucks that Canada beat us in the final, but this is like a positive, good thing in the end, and there's no reason to have negative feelings about this tournament. You can be pissed off today because we lost, but by the way, was it Austin Matthews? Was he getting a little lazy there on that thing?
Yeah, well, I would say lazy, but, he's a little tired. I mean, he's going back and forth 200 feet, and all of a sudden, you're playing against who many consider the greatest player of his era, Connor McDavid, is sitting there. I mean, it happened. All I can tell you is, I was thinking, man, I just don't want to see Sidney Crosby score again in overtime and beat the U.S.
Was that 15 years ago now?
I mean, the interesting thing is Mitch Marner was a big part of a couple of the goals last night.
I've seen him shirtless.
Yeah, I know you have.
Yeah,
and Mitchie's a good dude, man. I sent him congratulations last night.
Saw him shirtless.
Yes, you did at Sydney's wedding. Yes.
If you guys stayed long enough, you saw him shirtless.
Yeah, they saw him. They saw him shirtless. I think I saw Al shirtless too.
That was my cue to leave when all the hockey players were shirtless and on tables. All right.
Agreed. See ya. But no, I mean, it's like I said. It's probably the best thing that could happen to the sport. For those of us who love the sport and are now on to the regular season again, and the Rangers have back-to-back this weekend, which is amazing. And for the Ranger players are going to have to figure out somehow, some way. And Ray Ferraro was talking about this last night. How do you get yourself back up to get back into your job? It's going to take a week or so, but I don't know. I loved every minute of the whole thing. All these games, with the exception of one, was a blowout. And that was U.S. versus Finland, and every game was tight. Every game was, all came down to the end. I mean, that's exactly what you want. So it's disappointing you lose, but it's also exhilarating to see the best in the world put the effort forth for their countries. And I love the patriotism on both sides.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a little.
Could you imagine, man, when we make them our 51st state, just how good our hockey teams are really going to be?
Yeah, I know. No one will be able to. No one will be able to beat us.
Stop us.
But you get Bissonnette last night, who I do like him.
He's a Canadian. Come on.
I know he's a Canadian, but I'm saying he's just so over the top with it. Just the whole thing. McJesus has risen, and you can't take our sport and all this stuff. And then Trudeau comes out and posts on social media, you can't take our country, you can't take our sport. It's like, okay, wait a second. So if the U.S. would have won, we would have taken your sport? Was that what would have happened? Because we beat you once already. That's basically the way I look at this. There should be a best of three. We won once, they won once. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just...
There's a best of three. Let's run it back tonight.
I mean, isn't Trudeau leaving office?
Yeah, I don't know. Can't take our country, can't take our sport.
Well, he was just responding to Trump's pregame.
Yeah, I know. And hey, listen, thank God, Trump called him.
That was
him.
Trump touched the money spot, I think.
No, Trump wished them. He wished them luck. And you know what? If you are an American hockey player and the president of the United States, no matter who it is, if they could wake the previous guy up to actually make the phone call. I mean, you're going to take the phone call and you're going to say, "Thank you, Mr. President. We'll do everything we can for our jersey, our country." That's who we're playing for, and we're playing for, unfortunately, our fallen teammate, Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
He didn't say anything that was touching the money.
I didn't think so either, but
not at all. I mean, people hear jackasses hear what they want to hear.
You calling Eddie a jackass?
No, I'm just saying certain jackasses hear what they want to hear, and he didn't say anything other than "good luck, guys." And
I called them; they're a great team. I remember that. I'm trying to find the full thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing, and they are a great team.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not a shock that Eddie is taking the side of Canada this morning. It's just not, it is not a shock.
Should move to Canada.
He probably will. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Saskatoon or something. What'd you say, Medicine Hat?
Medicine Hat. That's my favorite. Saskatoon is another great one. All right, here we go. I will be calling our great American hockey team this morning to spur them on towards victory tonight against Canada, which with far lower taxes and much stronger security will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished.
Oh, come on.
And
that
very
is
important
the money spot.
51st state. He didn't say they were going to win, though. He didn't say. Are we talking touch the money as far as Canada being the 51st state?
Yes.
All right, well, that's a
He's
different
been- but
argument.
he's
We
been
talk
saying
about
he's
touch the money in a sports way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, he's been talking about this since he took office, man. Come on.
Which
you know
is,
that.
Which is.
I mean, like, those people are living under oppression, Eddie. You know this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's why you have a financial advisor. So things like that, you protect yourself in the future.
You weren't rooting for Canada last night because of this.
No.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't even aware that what happened until after because I went to sleep.
You were
Well, of
asleep.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah, I
asleep at
understand,
6:30. How could you be asleep at 6:30?
Well, he gets up earlier than
Get up
us,
at
and
1.
I know.
It's a different situation.
I
He's
know
not
it
a
is. I
napper
know
as
it
much
is.
as I'm a napper. It's a whole thing. Everybody's got their own deal. He's here. He's ready to go. That's all we need.
Yes, and we all know you can't believe everything you read online.
Barnacle parasite thing.
That's exactly
that
right. I
Attaches
appreciate
themselves
that.
to these polar bears.
Yeah.
Silver, help us get these barnacles off.
I can laugh
He
at
is-
that. I can definitely laugh at
He
that.
is
That's fine.
Firing today.
Yo, he is.
What did you
firing
do
today.
to him?
I don't know.
He's just over
See,
there
this is-
throwing grenades.
No, I know, but this is just the angry liberal in him. Like, the rest of us are happy. So now he's just angry. What can I tell you?
Listen, man. Like I have a feeling that when Al woke up and he asked Alexa who won the game and it said Canada, he was just like, gave like one of those, it stinks. When Eddie woke up and put on Scott Van Pelt and so he was like, oh, that's too bad. Now I know I can go after the big guy today. And he drank a cup of maple syrup and
Yeah.
he walked out of the house and
Yeah.
I think he was happy about this. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
he might have been. He might have been.
I think deep down he might have been happy about it. But yeah, this was, stuff like this is cool with sports. And you saw how much it meant to the Canadian team, too. I mean, my God, like some of those guys,
like
like,
Sidney Crosby, you would have thought he just won another gold
I
medal.
know, he was so jacked up. That's the exact guy I was going to talk about because he's done everything and won everything. And he gets that cup and he's like, I was like, wow.
Well, yeah, because he knew, game one, those fights and all the stuff that came out of that game. And it's too bad that, there are injuries that are going to happen on both sides. There are no excuses in the game of hockey. That's all there is to it. You go out there, you play your ass off. You block pucks. That Jacob Slavin was unbelievable last night. That guy sacrificing his body, blocking pucks, getting in the way of things. And there was a lot of hitting last night. Drew Doughty for Canada he was like a bug on a windshield when Brady Tkachuk was on his ass.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Sure. Brady Tkachuk might have hit him like 5 different times last night. Could you imagine? And, and to Drew Doughty's, to his credit, he took it. Like, he knew it was coming. That's the hardest thing to do in hockey. I'm not a defenseman, but I can't even imagine what it must be like having one of those guys bearing down on you, that size, knowing that you have to somehow move the puck, and there's a wall and glass in front of you with the guy right on your ass.
Yep,
and
gotta take it.
And you got to take it. He took it like 4 or 5 times. Because that Brady Tkachuk is crazy. He would look great in a Ranger uniform, by the way.
Well, obviously.
Although
I think
don't
it'd look
Otto
great.
would.
Everybody would love to have him.
That's what I was saying last night on our group thread. I said I think everybody in the NHL would love to have Brady Tkachuk as their on their team. But at this point right now, the Rangers are 3 points out of a playoff spot. I think the Islanders are 4 points out of a playoff spot. Anything can happen. There's still a lot of season left, and the March 7th trade deadline is right around the corner.
Yeah, and I could understand, too, there was a lot of talk about what Adam Fox said, this being he's more jacked up for this than any other game, and how that doesn't look good for the NHL or the Rangers. But until I see Adam Fox not playing his hardest in a Ranger playoff game, then none of that matters. You know what I'm saying? His ass is going to be all over the place doing what he does in a playoff game. And if he looks disinterested in an important game down the road with a Ranger uniform on, then you can criticize him for not giving maximum effort like he did here. But I just thought too much was sort of made of that.
You know what? Brady Tkachuk said it was the most important game he played in.
Yeah, he did too.
A bunch of Canadians said the same thing. Anybody that is going to criticize those players for what they said about the importance of what that game meant last night, they're jackasses, all right? And they're selfish jackasses. These guys laid it on the line, and they laid it on the line for their country because we back home, we're all watching. Why do you think we're all watching? because we find it to be just as exciting as the players do.
Right, exactly.
So I don't want that.
There's more casual fans are watching this than the NHL too.
Exactly, but the point, to criticize any Ranger fan that would criticize Adam Fox for saying that doesn't understand what these guys are playing for.
Yeah.
So that's jackassery.
Jackassery.
Yeah, and who knows if it's even a Ranger fan? It's probably somebody pretending to be a Ranger fan just to antagonize the Ranger fans. You know that.
No, it was Morash actually was doing a lot of that yesterday. Doing a ton of it.
Well, he's not. I'm not taking him to the Garden.
Oh.
There we go. That's it. I didn't realize it was Morash that you were talking about.
He was all over how much this thing
Jackass
stinks.
does fit the description.
Yeah, Sean was not into this thing at all. Was upset that Adam Fox said what he said. So, yeah.
No. Well, he's got a radio show to do.
He has a radio show to do. Eddie, just one thing. When you played that dolphin sound in the "Help Me, Help Me," was that you that recorded the "Help Me, Help Me," or was that some drop that you found?
Boomer, help us! Get these barnacles off!
That sounds like you, Al.
That was not me.
That's Eddie. That sounded just like you, though.
I would love to have had video of watching Eddie do that voice.
I thought so when I heard it, but we were in another conversation. I got to go back to that. And he went into his studio just to do "Boomer, help me, help me."
It's great.
Oh man, did you do that yesterday, or were you sitting on that?
I had asked Izzo last week when this all came up with the polar bears. I said, "Hey, could you do something?" He goes, "Why don't you just do it?" I said, "Oh, okay." And I totally forgot about it until this morning.
So he's like, "All right,
USA
lost."
Could not wait to pull that out as our country lost the hockey game. Perfect.
Oh, I love it. Eddie's got fewer than 2 years, like less than a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Here in that position, so he's just emptying the clip now is what he's doing.
Oh, yes, he is.
Emptying the clip. All right, it's Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network on this Feel Good Friday. We got Jerry Recco back.